So, so I think the potentials are one, he's either very excited to be here and wants the freedom, but is not getting it. Two, frustration from lack of from the non-neutering.
Right.
What was the other one I mentioned earlier? There's a third one of neutering, excitement. Crap, I forgot. Oh, not going high enough on the collar to cut. Crap. Yeah. You know, because the highest he's been here is like what, 80, 90?
The highest I've been here, 80 or 85.
Yeah. So, and what about in the neighborhood?
I think like once or twice I had to go to 90.
Okay.
And it fixed the problem.
Okay. And what was it the passing problem of walking, or was it like the vocalization stuff?
Well, no, he means specifically when I went to 90. I can't recall. I think it was just like he was just so amped up that he kept passing and like wouldn't respond to 70, 75, 80.
Sure.
I think it was just one of those.
Sure. And then you end up on 90, and all of a sudden.
And then he was fine, and then
Yeah, gotcha. All right, cool. Yeah, because that's the other factor too. You know, so because I think last time I was like, if you've been going to 75, just go to 75 then.
There,
yeah. So that's been helping.
Yeah. He's been. So yeah, every day. I mean, we took him to the park. The walking has been really good.
Okay.
Not many corrections, and the practice from last week with the 30-foot leash, really good.
Okay.
Like the last day or two, he came straight to us, really, right?
Excellent.
Like
okay.
no.
Oh,
we didn't have to 360 or anything. He just kind of came right there.
Good.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna work on the second half of the recall. So we'll grab our long line, and then next week is when I don't see you guys. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And maybe we'll try to do one of the Zoom ones in that week, in next week.
After next week or during this week?
This upcoming week.
Okay. I would contact Maria sooner rather than later because my calendar is pretty full. Yeah.
If not, the next week.
Yeah. No, there's no rush in the Zoom. I mean, you can still Zoom, right?
Right.
But just a heads up so you're aware. I have no life right now, so.
Yeah.
And I don't have a choice. Tap. Get him a pop on the prong. The prong. There you go. Then relax. Up again. And then when you go up, a firm pop as you go up, okay? Like, boom. Try again. Pop him on the prong. There you go. Now relax. There you go. Okay, now the long leash.
Keep them both on again, or does it matter?
Yeah, we'll keep them both on. Okay. I'm gonna move your bag over by my stuff, okay?
Hey, sit.
All right, so I'm gonna have you guys just start off by showing me what you practiced this week,
okay.
And then we'll move on to the second exercise.
We were doing it with just the one leash. I mean, I don't know if that matters.
Oh, I see. All right, then that's fine.
Better about it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just show me how you were practicing.
Okay, go.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just kind of let him get distracted for a minute.
Sure.
There's a lot more distractions today, though.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Is that all right? Pancho, come.
Good. We'll do a couple more.
Okay, go. Pancho, come.
Good, one more.
Okay, go.
Good. Let's go and swap handlers. So was that a recall? Gotcha. Ugh. Tap, tap, yep. Good, 2 more. Good. Good, 1 more. Tap, right. There you go. All right, very good. Good job. You can go down with like, what are you at, 75? 65? All right. So go ahead and bring Pancho back. Good. All right. So that looked really good. I liked his looseness. You know, most dogs, when we do the recall, don't want to leave the owner, which makes it harder, right? So it's a pro because that's partially what prevents the dog from running away. Because a lot of times when owners like remove the leash, the dog just goes, right? So it helps put a boundary. So that's the pro. But the con is, well, if you're trying to practice realistically, which is like that, you really can't, right? So, but yeah, I like that. His looseness, he seemed very comfortable. He had a pretty good response to the cues themselves. So what we're gonna do here is add an additional layer to this command. So if you call Pancho, and I actually saw this happen a little bit, right, he arrives, puts his butt down, and if you were to move again, what should he do?
With you, or like turn with you?
He should move with you. Yeah, he should follow you. Okay. So typically when people call their dogs, like the dog will return, but then run away again, right? Or when they call their dog, the dog will like slow down and then pass them up and go the other way. Okay. So that's why I insist on making the dog return 100% to you as tight as possible, because that tightness fixes that problem of the bypass, but also prevents. So if I call, let's say, a dog from chasing the squirrel, and I've taught them to a really tight recall, they're less inclined to want to go back to that squirrel. Okay, so that's why we make it super strict. If there's any leniency, then it's going to work against you in the future. Okay, so I saw a couple times when you moved initially, he's actually already followed. Okay, so we're going to add an exercise to just build on this. I call this my sidestep exercise. So if you call Pancho and he arrives here, any direction but forward is okay, or forward left. Okay. So like, let's say you call Pancho and he lands on your right side. Why don't we want to move forward?
Why don't we want him to move forward?
Us to move forward. What does it look like?
Well, it looks like healing.
Correct, right? So if I move forward, I don't know if he's default healing or if he's moving with me because he knows he's supposed to stay with me from the count. Okay? So I move in any direction but forward like, so not like this and not like this, right? So I'm still turning and moving forward. So if I want to turn left, instead of going like this, I actually go like that. I make side steps, okay? Or I can move backwards, like that. Any direction but forward like, because he doesn't know how to heal with those kinds of movements, okay? So if I take a side step and Pancho just moves with me, I know it's because he's got the concept of once you call me, my job is to stick with you, right? So come and called, like we call, is come to me, stay with me, and sit when we're not moving, okay? So we're gonna practice the same exercise that you've been doing. We're gonna go ahead and add the 2 people because since we're gonna be drilling this, he's probably gonna get savvy to the exercise and prematurely run to you guys. And I'll coach you through it. It's very simple, and then we'll move on to the next thing after that. But that recall, those recalls look pretty good.
Oh, but I don't need the
No, we're gonna do the short 2 as well. Yeah, because since we're gonna be practicing back to back, is he might start prematurely, like just leaving, you know, and sticking to you. So then you can't do the recall exercise. You starting us off? All right, and we'll move Pancho more that way to give her space this way, okay?
Sure.
So go ahead and give your let your long leash go slack, hold on to the end. Good, and go ahead and walk with Pancho a little bit that way.
Me?
Yep. That's good right there. Right, so so just like the other recalls, we're gonna wait a moment.
Let go.
When she calls correct, when you're ready. And then back, 1, 2, 3, that's good. Tap. Now here, leave the leash slack, there you go. But go ahead and shorten it. Give him about 10 feet of slack. There you go, that's fine. Now take 2 steps to your immediate right. 1, 2, okay, tap, there he goes. Now, that was fine. Now, when you make these movements, I'm gonna have you make them more pronounced. So like bigger steps, okay? Try 2 steps backwards. Tap, tap, tap. There you go, now wait right there. Wait a moment, good. And now you're gonna take 3 steps to your immediate left. 2, 3, good. Right, wait for them. And praise. Good boy, tap for the sit. Tap, then praise. And release. Break, good. And we'll take them back to Scott. Try again. And we'll repeat that 4 more times. Good. Hold your leash right there. Wait a moment. Keep that slack. That's good. Give a little slack here. I think you took too much. Just drop a little. There you go. That's good right there. And you're going to move 2 steps to your immediate right. 1, 2. Tap. Right. Wait a moment. Good. Now try 3 steps back. Good. Nothing here. Wait a moment. And now 2 steps to your left. Tap. Good. Wait right there. And praise. Good. 3 more. Back, 1, 2, 3, that's good. Good. Leave some slack, there you go, that's good. 3 steps to your left. 1, 2, 3, tap, tap, right, good. Now here,
Far away, right?
yeah, so keep where you're at, tap, 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 tap. There he goes. Wait a moment. Right. Now let that slack go. Good. Now backwards. Tap. Right. Good. All the dogs. Now back. Tap. Tap. Back. 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 There you go. Good. Try to your right. Tap. Little bit, you're gonna put a little bit of tension towards you and tap to bring him in closer. Right there, then praise. Good. And 2 more.
Sorry.
Okay, go.
Good. Right. Good. Try a couple steps to your right. Good. Try backwards. Tap, tap, right. Bring him in closer. Good job. To your left 3. Very good. And praise. And break.
Okay, go.
Well, this will be a good distraction. There you go. Back. There you go. Good job. Tap. Yep. There you go. Good. Right. Uh-huh. Good job. Yep. That was correct. Good. Good. One more. Right. Good job. Good. And release. Good. Let's go and swap handlers. Those were good.
Yeah.
40?
I had a, yeah, I lowered it. Because
Now I'm giving you. Now that's why the camera's not on me, so I can give you dirty looks. I go 55. I'm like 45.
sorry, doggies.
Exposed. All right, whenever you're ready.
Pancho, come. Come.
Back, tap, 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 back. There you go. Hold right there. Now you want to give some of that slack back. It's pretty good right there. And then you're going to take a couple steps backwards. 1, 2, tap, tap, tap. There we go. Now I'm going to have you also make your steps bigger, more pronounced, okay? So try 3 big steps to your right. 2, those are nice. There you go. Good. Tap. There you go. Now back. Tap. There you go. Wait a moment. Tap. Right. There. And praise.
Good boy. Good.
Good. And release. Oh, well. So on that one, he released just before you released him. Did you see that? So you would want to correct that. Wait a moment, and then make sure he's releasing on your cue, okay?
Okay. Pancho, come.
Good. Right, good. Right. Good. Right, good. Excellent. Good. 3 more.
Come.
Tap back, good. Good. Wait a moment, good. That was good. Good. Praise. We're gonna do 2 more. Break.
Go.
Nice, good. Tap, back, there you go. Good. Right, good. 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 Good, praise. And do 1 more. Good. Very good. All right, let's go and bring Pancho in. Good. So side movements look pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty cool how quickly you pick that up.
Yeah, it's usually, it's just an added step. A lot of dogs will just have to start grabbing, because you did the heel, right? So it's kind of like the same concept, it's just the way that you're moving is a bit different. So when I throw this in, I do this like sporadically, you know, I don't try to drill it too much, just try not to make the dog paranoid, you know, because then you're not going to want to leave your side. You kind of balance like the freedom with the discipline of like, don't run away, okay? So like, let's say you call him away from squirrels, he's here. This is like a tricky one, because when you move away, the dogs sometimes will like reset, and then instead of following you, they'll just take off after the squirrels, okay? So I use that to kind of force those problems, to correct them. The other thing is, we can also potentially create confusion. So I think last week I told you guys, every time you call Pancho, always tap him, because you're trying to force him to like, the deep delayed tap of, oh crap, wrong thing, and deflecting him. Is here, sometimes when you move away, and you have to tap him, like to close that little gap, right? And he would start barking because he was getting frustrated, is sometimes dogs will actually run off there too, instead of moving in. So it's another situation where we can layer in the remote more to cause that confusion, to work through it, to clarify for him, remote never means to run away.
Is that like defiance, or are they just thinking another step ahead when they're free?
No, it's just that they're, because he has to interpret what to do to the same sensation. Does that make sense? So like the more we teach, the more commands we teach the e-collar, essentially the more problems we create, because he has to decipher what you're wanting in that moment with the muscle contraction. Okay, so if you tap him to close that gap, and he's like, man, I don't know, the first instinct is almost always flight. Okay, that's why like if you were to put an e-collar on the dog and just start tapping the button, you would see them start to move around and probably even walk away, because they're thinking, I gotta get away from this. Okay, so same thing here. It's not so much defiance as just like, I don't know what to do, so I'm gonna just try to run away from it. Okay, so that's why we do this stuff, to force all these issues, so that we can prove the obedience of them. Okay, so the recall looked good, his looseness looked good. It looked a little too good. You're like, okay, go, and he's like, bye. Yeah. And he was doing his own thing. Okay. Right. So we'll keep an eye on that. Side steps were all good. Did we talk about like trying to recreate more realistic scenarios?
I know we touched on that. I can't remember the specifics though.
So like, let's say.
Like with the, like try to get him distracted by like a deer or something you said?
The deer, right? Like, so what you're doing earlier, or like let's say you're in a situation where you don't have anything to like distract him in the environment. Is we're trying to recreate that away motion. Because so if someone calls their dog, it's usually they're chasing something, they're running away, or they're running towards something dangerous. Okay? So I like to try to practice recalls as the dog is actively distracted or actively moving away, right? So if I told Pancho, okay, break, to go chase a squirrel, during the chase, I may just call him, okay? As he's in pursuit, to disengage him from that activity, okay? So if we're in a setting where we don't have that, we can replicate it using you guys. So since Marito has the long leash, the way it would look here is you would actually let your slack go, and you would just hold the handle. You'd have the remote. Scott would start walking away with Pancho, and as he's walking away, he would call Pancho. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As he's moving, but we would start with walking, and the next step would be Brennan, right? Because you're trying to build up to a realistic contact.
So he's running with me, and she calls it. He should immediately, right?
Correct, right? So we start with the walking. Now, what we're going to get in the beginning is confusion, because if he's walking with you, what is he going to think?
He's gonna think we're probably.
Correct, right? So when you call him, you're trying to get Pancho to disengage before the tension kicks in, okay? It's probably not going to happen immediately. It's going to take repetition. So as he's walking away, you're going to call Pancho about halfway through, 10 to 15 feet in, just give you another 15 to 20 feet to remote him to try to get him to leave Scott's side. Does that make sense? Okay.
Let it go like I was.
Yeah, and then so the moment you see she calls Pancho, you're gonna drop your leash and then just keep walking, and he's gonna keep trying to follow you. But at some point, tension's gonna kick in and turn him around, and we'll keep repeating this, so eventually he's able to do it himself. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of confusion in the beginning.
Is this right now or is this home practice?
Right now, yeah. I'm gonna go. So, yeah.
But don't use the H word, right?
Excuse me.
Don't like tell him to heel, just kind of go.
Correct. Yeah, just walk. Okay. Hello. I am good. How are you?
I can hardly hear you. You gotta be louder and more clear.
Oh yeah. No, I know. No, I'm in a. No. It's I'm in a training session. What's up? Did he contact you guys? This guy. We sent him your information like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Will you please call my facility? Do you have a pen and paper? I think it was just a bathe and then there was like a mat by his. Yeah, so let that go slack and then try again. So let your leash just go completely slack and hold the end. There you go. I don't think so. But if you want, you can call the facility and they can contact him. And I can give you the facility number. 773-661-6762. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye. Go try 3 more. Yeah, there you go. That was a good one. That was a real good one. Good. Okay, we're gonna do, was that number 3? 2 more. So he already started, did you see that? Yeah. So tap, good. So what we're gonna do here, yeah. So what we can do is as Scott's walking away, you're gonna trail behind him as well. So that you can, because if you just wait for the end of the leash, he will obviously learn the distance, right? So if you keep walking behind Scott, you can add in more time, so it's more random. Okay, so we'll try one more, but that third one was perfect.
All right. Yeah, when we were walking, he's kind of like
Eyeballing, yeah.
Okay, go.
There you go. Yep. There you go. Very good. Let's swap handlers. Good. 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 And release. Good. We're gonna do 4 more. Back, yep, back tap, back. There he goes. Attaboy. Good. Good. 3 more. That was a good one. Right? Good. Couple more. Yeah, that was good. Good. And 1 more. Good. Go ahead and bring Pancho over here. All right. So then a couple of those were really good, where he turned right on the recall.
Okay.
Others he got confused.
Right.
Okay. Now the second one, I think when he got tangled up. Okay, did we ever talk about that last week about getting tangled up?
Wait, did you tell him to do? I told him to stay. I'm just making sure I should sit. Stay.
When you got tangled up there, did we ever cover that last week? No. So when the leash gets wrapped around the legs, most people's inclination is to stop.
Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah, and then you heard me tap,
Keep
tap,
going,
go, right? And the reason why we do that is, one, that's a distraction, technically, right? Now, is it a realistic one? Nah, because we wouldn't have a leash wrapped around the legs. But it's something that's bothering him, right? He's like, what the hell's going on? And you're like, look, I know you're like bothered by that, but you need to get over it, right? So, because in life, especially in emergency scenarios, now he actually responded pretty quick. That was about 3 seconds. That was really good. I get dogs that just freak out, and the owners freak out, and everybody's freaking out, right? And then, you know, I as much as possible try to make it happen, and then I'll stop and I'll say, let's talk about life. In life, I've had plenty of people tell me, you know, dogs took off because of fireworks, dogs took off towards the street because of a rabbit or a squirrel, dog was running away, you know, dog got off leash or whatever, and it's a situation where you have seconds to make your dog fly, right? And either the dog might be under stress, you're under stress, and you're like, holy crap, my dog's running away. Yeah. But then you feel bad, because then you have to jack up the remote, right? And then like make the dog jump and all that stuff. Because essentially you're trying to override, if he's like, let's say a firework with he's running away, you're making him more afraid of running away from you than he is about that fire run. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it ends up being a pretty easy leash. A little bit more
Sorry. Boogie, you're not listening. Hey. Stay.
Sit, boy. Sit, Pancho. Sit. Sit. Sit.
pop my collar, pop, firm pop,
Pardon?
firm pop. Yeah. That was like a scale of, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're probably doing 2 to 3 right now.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Go ahead, try again.
What if he's quiet? I don't like that. I get it.
What would be the difference between that and
Because tapping, like right here, tends to escalate him. And like last week, he was doing reasonably well with the popping, right?
I'll do it if he does.
So this is why I do remote so much, because it's easy to just press a button for people. This takes a bit of technical skill.
Like psychological.
You know, yeah. Well, there's the hump of like, am I hurting my dog, right? But dogs bite each other, so like that prong collar would never match an actual dog bite.
Sure.
You know, but there's also just the skill of it. You know, like I've been doing, like I look at your corrections and like that's a 2 to 3, right? And if this is the other thing about prong, if a dog is at like 12 in intensity, and you can give a 10 and a really good 10 is never 12. You know, so and that's where it falls short. So with e-collar, I love it because I can compensate for a lot of stuff, but there's some times where corrections through other methods are more effective.
Is that like generally like when he's like getting real like angry like that, or?
Yeah, so like I think I talked about that other German Shepherd dude, where when the husband left, he was like this, like throwing a fit, and the more she remoted him, the more he became reactive. So then I started having her turning into a dog and whacking him with her knee, and then he shut up.
Like if you like on a walk or just anytime?
In that particular case, it was because she was doing the turns and bumping him with her knee to de-escalate the attachment to the husband. Yeah. You know, so it was physicality, but it was just a different form of physicality. So like actually my other trainer, Enrique, he has a German Shepherd as well. And I was teaching him stuff. And she was getting very frustrated. And she started jumping at him. And I said, turn into her and bump her very firmly with your knee. And he did that. The next time she jumped up at him, boom, and she goes, whack, right? And then she stopped. And then he was like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, because the e-collar was causing her to stress out more. So it didn't make sense to keep stressing out more. So we did a different type of correction to differentiate between what we were doing. And then she kept the crap. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways going about it. In most cases, it's just use the remote, you know, which is why I was talking about possibly going to the facility and in this week 127 and then see what happens. And then I write them through it. Because it could be 5 minutes of just constant chaos before the brain finally goes fine and gets up and shuts down. But then after that, it should be much easier because you already broke it down. Okay, but it's that initial time that's the hardest. Okay, so let me think here. So those were good with the recalls and the walking away. So the next logical step would be running, making it more realistic with the faster pace. Okay, so questions so far about this? So it's facing towards you, that the chain link. Yeah, turn it towards you. Can you see the end of your hand here? And then hold your leash right there.
Like this?
Yeah. Just hold your leash. 1 second. Relax. There we go. Okay. So that was about like a 4 to a 5 correction. Okay. So
I don't want to see a 10.
I don't want to see a 5. I don't want to go 1 more. Okay.
So, but he's still stimulated.
Yeah.
You can see it, right? So like he would probably need like a 7 to 8 right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you're thinking like a human,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to hurt the dog either.
I know.
But I have to, in order to be effective, I have to match his intensity, right? And like that softness that you have for him, right? I understand you care for him, but that also inhibits your progression, right? Because he's like, well, let's say for instance I work with him, and he's like, damn, Jesse's strict, right? Then I hand him to you, and you're struggling with that intensity. He will know that. He will go like, oh wow, when I'm with Jesse don't play. Jesse gives me 10. You give me 3, right? Because when you tug at him, he associates like, oh, you're trying to do what Jesse did, but you don't mean it. You know, you're bluffing. So like I've had clients, another German Shepherd, that would growl at the wife for trying to brush him, but the husband could brush him no problem. We're doing the training, and she's like maxed out on the collar. The dog's growling at her and all that stuff, and she's tapping him. But when she's doing so, she's like this, and she's tapping him. And I'm like, your body language says that you're scared of your dog, and no matter how hard you hit him on that collar, he goes, you're bluffing. He's like, because your body language says you don't mean it. Your body language says you're scared. So like in the movies, I know I've seen some movie where like the person's holding the gun, like this, and they're like, I know you're not gonna pull the trigger, you better hold it straight. You know, but if someone's holding it, boom, you're like, oh, you're serious, right? So these things, it's all body language. It's not about intelligence. It's just like, you know, common sense and instinct and recognizing things. So here, you know, when it's like earlier when he was barking and I said firmer, and then he stopped. But what if he stopped? Well, he stopped because he was late. The window. Because I was like, correct him. And then there was like a 2 to 3 seconds delay.
Yeah.
And then he quieted down. He said, but what if he quiets down? I'm like, well, there's...
Yeah.
Yeah, because people go by, I want the dog to make the decision to be good. But you have to make the decision to be good, and then it becomes his decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's that firmness, it's that strictness of like, hey, boom, right off the bat, boom, right when you do something I disagree with, boom, that correction. And he's like, there is no window. Okay? So like in the car, if he's, you know, barking or whatever, and you know, if there's 2 of you in the car, what I would do is tether him to the back. It's like he can't jump forward, because I'm thinking I might have to go to 127 to get this dog to quiet down. But if I go to 127, I'm also assuming this dog's going to try to jump over. Yeah. So I'm already a step ahead. You may not think that, but I'm like, I've already done this before. It's a possibility, and you don't want that to happen when you're driving, right? And I can squash it. You know, so what makes me an effective trainer is that I will go as far as needed to get the result, but it's really on the owner to then replicate or reinforce if that level is needed.
Yeah, not that it's not clear, but I have trouble with that. Like, I didn't look at you doing like, oh God, he's a monster, but like, I couldn't bring myself. But the first time I did it, it sounded like he was like.
No, but it's because when you it's
got in my head.
It's because when you correct him, he barks at the same time.
Yeah.
You know. So I get where you're coming from, but you interpreted it differently, and I go, I've heard that before. He just barked when you corrected, you know. And look at him, because that's the main thing. Is look at him after the correction, you know. And if he seems unfazed, even if you felt really bad about it, like he still didn't learn something.
You're saying he did not from what you did? You're saying he did not learn from what you did?
No, I could tell right off the bat. After I corrected him, it was better. But look at his energy.
Oh.
You know, like he's still looking on what's happening over here. You know, if when I get a good correction in, he'd already be laying at my feet a lot. Because I completely just cut the nonsense out.
Because I see this and I think like good, I guess not necessarily.
Well, it's because it's better than what you're used to. But at my standard, I have very high standards. I want a dog to completely chill, you know, trying to see if I can see one here. So like if you see me with my pit Lex, and I'm like around having this conversation, within like 20 seconds, she's just laying at my feet. Like she's not caring about what's going on unless I go, now you're free to do what you want.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just like my I think, you know, you're not trainers, you're learning this as you go along. Like you said, I thought this was better. Better would be if a dog walks by and you right? Because every time you see the dog, right? There you go, dog. There we go. Right? So better would be you didn't get that vocalization or we don't get any interest.
So like, I guess the way I want to ask it, like, so what I just saw there with that, like, I'm fine with that. Is that a personal preference thing or am I wrong?
Yes and no.
Find that acceptable?
I go by the dog. Okay. But like that was better. That was better. There it is. Right? Is if you're accepting partial compliance, right? Because it is better, you will forever have to manage him. Because you're just tapping him a little bit. But if I go, that's not allowed, period, he doesn't build. So then I don't have to be doing this all the time. That's the difference. Because people want the gray area, but dogs are black and white. It's either I'm doing it or I'm not, you know? And I'm very black and white with dogs, which is why we don't have to correct our dogs a whole lot, like me and my trainers, because it's so consistent. The dog's like, all right, cool, if you don't want to get corrected, don't howl, right? But if he's like, but I can whimper and I can, right? That's 1 to 2, and then he does, then 5 days from now, what happens when they go to 5? And then it's these constant steps forward, constant steps back. Okay? Other questions?
Yeah, I mean, off topic a bit, but I thought this like yesterday and it's close to this email. So, like, in the car, like, barking like crazy, sometimes he does that. Or like, if he's at the house, and obviously not on the leash, he's just like going crazy. Like, I mean, is there like some verbal thing that we're saying first?
So,
I mean, that's probably a whole lesson, like as one of the Zoom lessons, or?
I'll give you a quick rundown. But you have eliminating behavior and you have controlling behavior. In the car, I'm assuming you don't want him to bark like that. Right? You just correct it and he shuts up.
So just happily shuts up like nothing
because
else.
Because if you say quiet, you technically can do that until you say quiet. That's how dogs learn. They're not like humans.
The tap with no cue just means don't do that.
Yeah, because anything, if I bark, there's no warning, I just get blasted on 127. Right? That's an extreme example. Okay.
I got you.
Now, let's say in the home, I don't mind the barking, but I want to be able to control it when I feel like it becomes too much.
Yeah.
You would say quiet, because then you're dictating like, all right, you barked for like the past 5 minutes. That's too much. Quiet.
Quiet, then tap if he doesn't.
Then the tap. Correct.
Do you need to do anything else like have him sit, or should you just quiet?
No, because if you tell him to sit, you break the concept.
Okay.
Because then he thinks he got tapped for not sitting. And not sitting is not the same as not barking. Okay. So, very easy example, dog barking out the window. People call their dog, the dog comes back, and then they go back to barking out the window.
Right.
And they go, why does my dog do that? Like, because you called your dog, right? You say, yeah, your dog came, right? Yeah. And then your dog goes, all right, I came, I'm done, I'm gonna go bark out the window. At no point did you say, don't bark out the window.
And because, obviously, like, you want him to bark, like if some dude's kicking down your door, you want him to bark, like, is there an amount of time you should let it, is there an amount of time you should let him bark at someone going outside, or is there, like, something you should do?
I go by the context. So, like, let's say I live in an apartment, right? And there's other homes with, you know, other apartments. There's other people with dogs that, and I have like a doorman. It's safe to assume probably no one's going to break into my home, right? So I can correct all that barking. That, you know, when you hear someone walking by the door, when you hear someone opening their door with their keys, or when you hear someone walking their dog, because I know it's just a neighbor. I can correct that and eliminate it so my dog doesn't bark at those doors. But if someone tried to break my door down, the dog's still going to bark. Because it's completely or separate, exactly, out of the norm. Somebody breaks the window, dog's going to blow up, for sure.
So we're not doing anything wrong per se then if, like, let's say he's going nuts at the mailman.
No.
And like 3 seconds into his going nuts, tap.
Well, if you don't want him to go nuts to the mailman,
I still do the quiet, I'm sorry.
Well, then you do quiet, correct. Yeah. Quiet first, then tap him if he doesn't shut up.
But if like you start telling him quiet and stuff like just a few seconds in, you're not like taking away anything. Am I making sense? Like,
yeah, because you're trying not to kill security.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, again, like he's learning by context, right? So if you say quiet, technically he's going, oh, I can bark at stuff, but when I hear quiet, I shut up, right? Because no, you're not killing security, you're controlling security, okay? Now, like, let's say you had someone like, if you're breaking windows and you're correcting them for barking and breaking windows, and someone like is chipping on your door and you're correcting for that, well, then you're killing more of the security stuff.
We won't do that.
Right?
All right.
But yeah, and dogs are the best form of security, so I tell everybody. Even chihuahuas, like if like someone hears a dog barking, they don't want to gamble if they're going to get bit or not, or if the dog starts barking, everybody's been alerted them.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so just think of it as like, yeah, I don't want him to bark right now. Like technically right now out here, he shouldn't be barking. Like there's no reason for it, right? There's no threat or anything like that. So, and in the car, same spiel, you know?
Yeah.
But in the home, you know, you use that word of quiet first. Now the door, somebody entering the door, like a guest, is different. Okay, and that's a Zoom lesson type of deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, questions?
No.
All right.
But yeah, good. Solid answers for everything we had.
Good. So good job, guys. Recall looks pretty good. I like the looseness. So just remember to practice this week, and then you can try like the walkaways and the runaways if you're doing really well, just to kind of, you know, more controlled context. Otherwise, you know, use squirrels, rabbits, whatever it is, to distract them and try to call them off.
Okay.
Okay.
I think there's a kitty living in our park right now.
Sure. You guys have a good week.
You too. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Oh yeah.